So this is another story time video that I am bringing today. So if you guys like story time, then you might want to stick around for this one. Hello, my fellow stylists, enthusiasts, and friends. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, thank you for stopping by. I'm Maury Moody, and I'm the Curious Stylist. And if you're curious and nerding out on hair color is fun for you, then you might want to stick around. And to all my returning subscribers, well, you all know we're color geeks here. Okay, so in today's video, it is going to be more of a crazy coworker story. In this story, there's a Candace and a Katrina. So let me go into it. When my children were going into school, and we had just moved into the area and they were going into public school, they were homeschooled before, so I needed to get them prepared for what it was like to be around the other students and to get, when it's a small town, it can be a little harder to break through the social circles. So I kind of wanted to give them some nice motherly advice. So I said to my daughters, one was 5 in 5th grade and one was in 2nd grade. And I said to my one daughter, who was going into 2nd grade, what do you think happens in a chicken pen when there's a sick chicken that's not feeling so well? And bless her little heart, she said, they help it. I said, no, dear. They peck the weak chicken to death. Don't be the weak chicken. That being said, this is a story about how I wasn't going to be the weak chicken. Now, I am going to say that there is parts of your mind that you don't entertain because you know they're the darker parts of your personality. And you don't really want to expand or develop that. But in this story, and at this particular time, I did develop it. And I was wrong in what I'm about to tell you. But I feel that what I did was necessary for where I was at. If you've ever been in that kind of situation where you felt like, oh, I didn't want to play dirty, but I kind of have to, that's one of these stories. I'm going to preface the story. I'm going to tell you a pre-story before I get into the real story of why I ended up taking the cannoli. Like I said in one of my other storytime videos, I was just starting out in this newer salon with a new owner, and it was a new group of girls, and I didn't know anybody. And I met this girl named Katrina. Now, Katrina, I felt like Katrina was one of those people that there needed to be a weak chicken. And she didn't want to be the weak chicken, but she thought that somebody at the salon had to be the weak chicken. So, like I said, she needed there to be a weak chicken, and I think that she thought I was that. And she mistook the idea that because I was nice, I was a pushover or I was weak, and I'm not. One of the girls at the shop was telling me that there was this... All right, she was telling me that PTA had a special where if you bought the tickets at this particular like family fun sort of place where they have like go-karts and like arcades and like all sorts of fun little rides, that if you bought the tickets, you would get $6 for that night. And it was a PTA fundraiser. And I thought, well, that's great. So if I go there, I only have to pay for $6 per kid. That'll be great. I didn't know that I actually couldn't purchase the tickets at the place. I had to purchase them through the PTA at the school. And my kids didn't attend that school, so I didn't have the ability to buy those tickets. But I wasn't aware of that at the time. I just figured if I showed up that night, there might be a way for me to buy these tickets. All the girls at the shop are going with their kids to this. So I get there, and guess what? I have to pay full price, and it's $18 per kid, and I have 4 kids. So instead of it being $24 to go, it's more like, you know, close to $100. But you don't tell 4 kids that you're not going to go have fun that night because it's like 3 times more than you expected it to be. You're going to do it because you love your kids and you want to have a good time. I got to hang out with the girls that I was at the shop, and I noticed that Katrina was not there, and I didn't understand. And you know how sometimes you think in the back of your head, like, you know, you don't want to think, oh, she probably didn't come because I went. You know what I mean? But I kind of got that feeling that because I showed up with my kids, she didn't want to go. And that was kind of, I don't know why I got that feeling, but I kind of did get that. The next day, I'm at work, and it's just her and I, and it's a Saturday, and I'm starting to like get my stuff ready. And she goes, oh yeah, like I heard that you went to that family fun night with the girls. And I was like, yeah, I had a really good time, and I was really happy that I got to get to know my coworkers. And she, you know, I thought that was really fun. And she was like, oh yeah, and I heard that like you had to pay full price. And I was like, yeah, I did have to pay full price, but I thought because, you know, I'm getting to know everybody that I work with, that it was worth it for me. And I didn't mind because, you know, in the end, I got to hang out with people and get to know them, so that like I understand the dynamics when I'm working at the salon, and I understand who I'm working with, because I didn't know these people from before. So I didn't mind. So I was like, I don't mind, you know, yeah, like I get it. I did have to pay a little bit more, but whatever. So she says to me, oh yeah, well, I guess you must have felt really stupid. And I thought to myself, oh no, you didn't. I didn't want to have to go here with you. But since you kind of went there, I'm going to have to. And I looked at her and I go, you know what? I did feel stupid that I had to pay full price. But I wasn't going to take my kids home and not give them a good night. And after all, I could afford it. And I looked at her face. Katrina's face went like this. And she did not talk to me for the rest of the day. And she left me alone. So, if that gives you any indication of how my relationship was with her, it's going to shed light on like further on in the story. I stayed clear of Katrina, but you know, she was who she was and whatever. And like I tried to be nice. Again, I want to work in peace with all men. And so what happened was, every week or two, there was this girl that used to work with us, and she owned a cupcake shop, and her cupcake shop was very popular, and it was making money like you wouldn't believe, and she was doing really good. Because she used to work with us, she would give us free cupcakes every like week or two. It was ridiculous how many cupcakes we got. And they would go in the refrigerator, and the girls would eat like, you know, the first day they'd have like 1 cupcake or maybe 2 cupcakes, but it drove me nuts because there would be all these cupcakes in the refrigerator and nobody would be eating them. And after about a week, we would throw them away. So it was very wasteful, but you know, whatever. One day I'm in the back with Candace, and Candace and I open up the refrigerator, and we happen to see cannolis. Now, I love me a good cannoli. And what I'm about to tell you, I admit I was wrong in. But I saw these cannolis and I was like, you know, these are probably going to end up getting thrown away. Not on my watch, they're not. I am going to have one. Because I assumed, and you know what happens when you assume, that they were for everybody. I assumed that they were going to go to waste, so I decided that not on my watch, they were not. They were not going to go to waste. Me and Candace have these cannolis. The next day, I get a text from my boss going, hey, you know, some scenario happened with some weird coworker, and do you know anything about that? And I was like, no, I don't know anything about that, because I didn't. But she's like, yeah, and somebody took Katrina's cannolis. Do you know who? Now, I'm not proud about what I'm about to tell you, but I lied and said no, because I knew those cannolis probably were going to go to waste. All right, well, whatever. I lied. It wasn't the right thing to do, but I did. So she says, oh, well, then if you don't know about it, then I know that Candace must have eaten them. Now, Candace had a pretty tough past, and she was trying to come out of that and make her life better. And so I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I can't let Candace take the fall for this. So I'm going to have to admit that I was the one who started eating the cannolis, and, Candace did eat them with me, but it was, us together ate them. So I texted Katrina, and I said, hey, Katrina, I was the one who took your cannolis, and I hope that you can find it in your heart to forgive me, because I know that you have a big heart. And, I will, I'll replace them. And she says, I fail in that department. Now, what you have to keep in mind is that I ate the cannolis on a Saturday, and on Sunday she worked with the boss and like a couple other girls that had known each other for a while. And so they were not as much outsiders. So she was really trying to maneuver herself in with the owner and the girl that had known each other for a while. And so I decided that she was not going to be smart enough to realize that I was going to set her up. There's a saying that if you give somebody enough rope, they generally hang themselves. And this girl did end up hanging herself in the end. And she went out with a blaze of glory, which is another story for another time. But for this time, I knew that she was going to play up how much of like a wretch I was for eating her cannolis, and she was going to make me look bad. So I decided that I was going to make her look bad, because I knew in her mind I needed to be the weak chicken. But I'm not the weak chicken. I wasn't going to be the weak chicken. And nobody needs to be the weak chicken. So I decided to fight fire with fire. So I write her, and I tell her that I hope she can find it in her heart to forgive me. I know she has a big heart. And she writes back, I fail in that department. I said, well, that's a failing indeed, but not one that I can laugh at. I will replace your cannolis. And we went back and forth, and each time she wrote me. I was super sweet. But I never did officially apologize. I basically told her I would replace her cannolis, that I thought that they were going to go to waste, but I never apologized. And she knew that. What I did was, as I wrote these sappy, sweet texts, I knew she was going to read them to the girls. And you know what's really funny is weeks later, one of those girls came up to me and was like, yeah, Katrina was really weird. And she kept going on and on and on about her cannolis. And I was just like, I don't really care. And I thought to myself, if this was it wrong for me to take her cannolis? You betcha. But in my defense, I thought they were going to go to waste, just like all the cupcakes that we had. And I didn't I didn't ask, but I didn't know that they were hers. So, of course, I played my hand even a little bit more, and I decided I was going to go, and I was going to get more cannolis. Of course, I owed her, the cannolis that I took, but I bought enough cannolis for everybody in the salon and shared. That's why I call this, I left the gun, but I did take the cannoli. So if you liked this story and you want to hear more of my story time, please comment below. Or if you had anything similar like that happen to you at work, I would love to hear about it. These are just like fun story times. My next one is going to be about my daughter. She's graduating high school, and so in June, that is going to be a fun story. It's going to be her birth story. So I hope you liked that video, and stick around for some more of my videos. I'll see you later, guys. Bye. I'm videoing right now, and I just want to show you just, what's happening while I'm videoing.